The phrase critical race theory has become a hot topic in schools and the legislature over the past several weeks.
Governor Cox decided not to include it in the special session set for tomorrow, saying the issue needs more time and thought. But the state House and Senate decided to discuss it anyway. Here's a closer look at what it means and how it could affect what our kids learn.
Critical race theory isn't all that new. In fact, it's been around for the past 30 years. And it's not a specific subject. It's more of looking at race and institutions with a critical eye.
A lens, if you will, for a way of looking at things. You can apply critical race theory to history, to economics, to current events.
The controversy exploded about a month ago when the Biden administration proposed to offer grants for U.S. history classes that teach critical race theory. Those who've studied it, like author Darlene McDonald, say there's a misunderstanding about what that means.
Is to make sure that we bringing in more diverse voices and perspective so that we get a more accurate history told to our future generations so that we don't continue to have the sins of our past. That's what this is about.
McDonald says critical race theory itself doesn't need to be taught in schools, but accuracy in teaching about history, like Christopher Columbus or the 4th of July, is important.
Why the 4th of July, Independence Day, it doesn't mean the same thing to Black Americans because Black Americans were not free on July 4th, 1776. So it's a totally different perspective.
Critics, such as Representative Chris Stewart, who wrote an op-ed in the Deseret News, say critical race theory has an agenda that focuses solely on the country's past flaws, and there's a danger in that. So far, at least 6 states have passed laws opposing or banning critical race theory in schools, and another 10 have introduced legislation opposing it. U of U Ethnic Studies Associate Professor Edmund Fong says it's a setback.
We've made a lot of strides over the past few decades around racial equity, justice and inclusion, around diversity. And so the fear, I think, is that bills like this don't just stop with critical race theory, the phrase itself, but they really try to target and turn back the clock on many of these efforts to build a more inclusive educational curriculum.
Critical race theory isn't currently being taught in Utah public schools, but the Utah State Board of Education is considering training for teachers about how to talk about race bias to their students. Meanwhile, the Utah Senate and House will consider a resolution regarding critical race theory tomorrow during the special session. In a statement, the Senate Majority Caucus said everyone is created equal and should be judged by their character, not the color of their skin. For this reason, we oppose critical race theory being taught in schools. American history should be taught in a way that highlights our country's highs and lows, triumphs and mistakes. We don't want to erase or bypass history, but we need to prevent schools from endorsing discriminatory concepts.